What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a team that gets straight A's on PVPoke in the Jungle Cup. And this team did really well for me in the first day of the Cup until I hit like 3 or 4 steal leads in a row with something like Palo Sand in the back, and I lost my mind, dude. But anyway, the team is seriously strong. Lots of people that I know that are using a team or some variant of this team. Some trainers actually have swapped Steelix and Altaria into, so Steelix is on the lead, but Vig in the back with Altaria. Like, this team in any order is just incredibly powerful. So let's take a look at these battles here in the Jungle Cup and see how this game, or how this team performs here. Starting with a Unova and Stunfisk lead, the opponent trying to finesse some core breaking, and they swap into the Abomasnow. Now you'll notice I'm running some sauce here on the Vig. We got Brick Break, which I was looking at the meta and I was like, man, you know, Brick Break really doesn't seem like it doesn't like have a bad, you know, it doesn't seem like a bad thing, right? Clearly the opponent here is trying to like lure out the Vig. Go for the Brick Break here for the KO, and the opponent has Dragalge in the back. So this is easy here. We keep Altaria on the Stunfisk, and then we put Steelix here on the Dragalge, and this is pretty much just an easy bake win here, only because alignment. And you'll notice in a lot of these games, alignment. And that's the problem with this cup, is it's entirely based on alignment and RPS, because apparently it was a good idea to put a meta in this game that is just, here, have a ground flyer meta. That's just literally nothing but ground and flying, and all kinds of weird other things in between. So, like, at first I thought maybe this meta wouldn't be so bad. Like, I'm very much a proponent of trying to find the picks that mitigate some of the RPS so that you can try to, you know, beat some of it. But it's just, it's so bad, and the teams in this cup sometimes don't even make any sense, man. So, in this particular situation here, though, we've got a Ufisk on the opposing side, and because they have, I know they're going to shield these, but I go for the Moonblast anyway. But because they have Mudshot, they actually can't farm me down. Now, I have Steelix with 2 shields. I think it's pretty safe to say that they're almost in range of Psychic Fangs, but because they decide not to swap here, I am actually going to go for the Crunch to get the KO, and then the opponent has the Dragalge in back, which just goes down. I don't have to shield this, but I don't know exactly how much an Aqua Tail would do. So, and if you want to, you could use a Shadow Steelix if you have one. I think they're pretty interchangeable. I also don't mind if you wanted to use something like Dragonite instead, if you wanted a little bit more firepower in the lead, right? I wouldn't mind that either. Altaria just happened to be, you know, the most sensical thing that I could think of. We get a really nice lead here in the next game with Talonflame. Now, I think Brick Break and Rock Slide definitely are a choice that you can make, because Rock Slide has a lot of good play, a lot of increase in the number of Mantines I've seen in this meta since I've played these battles. So that could be another good time, good thing for the Vig to have is Rock Slide. But the opponent swaps in here an Umbreon, and the reason why I like Brick Break so much is because it's allowing me to plow through some of these matchups where the bulk is so offset that it allows me to kind of neutralize that, especially into things that are like Skarmory and the Dark types, Mandibuzz, right? And especially in Umbreon. I wouldn't really expect to see too many Umbreons here. Excuse me. Goodness, I need a nap, apparently. I don't know where that came out of, but I'm going to go for the Brick Break here, get the KO. The opponent is going to have Talonflame. I think I would expect them to know that I don't have Rock Slide, so they're not going to shield this, but Altaria is going to be able to get back on its alignment here, and the opponent has Energy, which is very dangerous, but almost able to farm down, unfortunately. But I know Altaria is pretty thick. If this was Dragonite, like, for example, I know I would have to shield this, but I do, man, normally I wouldn't have shielded that, but I'm just like, I don't know what's in the back. And if this is a Brave Bird, it's going to be bad. Like, I literally was on stream and I said, if this is a Brave Bird, I'm going to need to shield this. And I shielded it. I'm like, oh, man, am I glad I did. But very good game to that trainer. That would have been very, very much a different story if I had not shielded that move. Now, Steelix, or Skarmory in the lead. And honestly, the same thing for Steelix. We go straight into... I need a nap, dude. We're going straight into the Steelix. Now, I think that it would probably make more sense, like, looking back to go into the Vig, but you also imagine, like, there's so many, like, just hard counters to the Vig at this point. So it's kind of a gut call to see what you want to swap into. But the idea here would hopefully be to get switch advantage. Now, unfortunately, even though Steelix resists all of the energy because it doesn't have Breaking Swipe, and I don't throw this, I thought they were going to throw, which is why I didn't throw, because that was my only chance at winning switch there. But I should have thrown the Psychic Fangs to get the shield. They get the Rock Slide off, which kind of sucks. Which they would have anyway, to be fair. But I'm kind of hoping now, especially once I see Steelix, that they have there's a win condition for the Vigoroth now. Now, if I had brought in my Vigoroth, they would have been forced to either stay. They probably would have stayed in with the bird, right? The Skarmory would have stayed in. They would have got a shield from me, and then maybe they would have come in with their Vig and still been able to win switch. And then I have to deal with Steelix versus Steelix, which is really just not fun. So we're going to see Brick Break come through, and then I am able to get to, not able to get to anything here, actually. I thought I was going to be able to go with the Body Slam after that, but you can't win them all, right? That was kind of difficult anyway, but, like, Vigoroth had to do all the work, and at that point I knew that the Steelix was just going to be able to take out my, my Altaria, like, with no problem. So, opponent, however, has a Charjabug on the lead in this next game, and I catch on my Steelix here, able to get out a Swampert, which is going to be some good farm for the Altaria, and Altaria could actually hit back neutral. God, out of nowhere, dude. It's like, as soon as I started recording, it's like, oh, you're tired. You should go to sleep. So all I want to do here is knock down the defense of the Swampert. I can farm this down, and actually the energy that's going to go back into the Charjabug is valuable. So this is a situation where I don't feel like I need a 2-shield. Man, and I'm going to say it, like, I honestly miss Breaking Swipe being as good as it used to be. Because the thing is, like, I know that people hated Breaking Swipe being 100%, but, like, that actually enabled Steelix to be an RPS breaker. And because of the extra damage that Breaking Swipe did, like, it lets you grind through matchups that, yeah, Steelix probably shouldn't have been able to beat. But it made things possible to flip RPS, which is really important in a game like this, where you're literally sitting in a game of blind format, blind threes, and you have, you know, you have no control over what you see and what you don't see. So it's like, you know, when they took that away, it was just really unfortunate. Because, like, I would rather be in a meta where at least I know I'm going to get debuffed and I can plan around it, than, oh, is the Scald debuff going to land? Now, we get the Vig on Vig action, but I got the Brick Break to get into this Vig. Now, what I'm going to try to do here is I need to farm down and get to a Body Slam here. But now, my opponent, I think, is on it. Honestly, I think they're at 2 here. So I have to let this... I got messed up, okay, by how much that Brick Break actually did. I thought the Body Slam would, like... Imagine neutral Body Slam doing less damage, or doing more damage than a super effective Brick Break. That's how bad Brick Break's damage is. Anyway, opponent does make a mistake there and throws the move, which allows me to get the counter through, get the Body Slam on the Charjabug. It's a good game. Had I shielded that Body Slam, I all but win the game, so that was a mistake that I thankfully, like, I was able to come back from. Now, Lickitung in the lead. I would like to get Vigoroth on this. My opponent farms up past the move, so I'm going to come in with my Steelix. I just pulled a catch out of my hat right there. Like, I didn't mean... Like, I was hoping I would catch, but I wasn't expecting to. The opponent now comes in with Clodsire, which is kind of risky, but at least I can Psychic Fangs for some super effective damage. And because of the fact that Psychic Fangs is a guaranteed debuff to the defense of the opponent, that also means that I'm going to be able to guarantee that everything I'm doing here is going to do more and more damage. So I'm going to shield up one Earthquake. It's Clodsire versus Steelix. I'm pretty confident that Steelix lives in Earthquake, but I don't know exactly how much. This is a matchup I haven't personally played out before, so I'm willing to let the next one go. Because at this point, I could farm down with Altaria, and then I'd be okay with that. But the opponent now, they do not get to the Mud Shot down before I'm able to get to the next Psychic Fang, so this is just going to leave them low. It's not going to take them out, unfortunately. But I swap in my Altaria very quickly here to try and snipe, which I do, and the opponent has the Lickitung come back in. So unfortunately, you know, I'm not going to get switch advantage here, but the extra energy on the Altaria hopefully is going to help me. So they go for the Body Slam. I have a lot of energy, so I'm going to go for Sky Attack. Maybe should have gone for Moonblast for the extra damage. I was kind of expecting to shield something at some point here, so I was very surprised when they didn't. So I'm going to go for the next Sky Attack here, leave some HP on the Altaria in case it's useful. Vigoroth. Between these two, there's not a whole lot we can't beat. except for Charizard. Charizard's probably one of the things that we can't beat. I am able to get the Sky Attack off here, which is actually really, really huge. And I get farmed down here by the opponent's Charizard. So really what I need to do here is I just need to get to a Body Slam, and they have a lot of energy, which is going to be very risky. Dude, I'm telling you, the catches were on point today, okay? I just go for it, and they Dragon Claw. Like, the other alternative is for me to, like, call a Dragon Claw, but we CMP on the Body Slam here. I shield up because I know that this is a guaranteed CMP, or at least it should be, unless I lag the turn again, which is also its own, you know, gripe that I have with the game not being a working thing. But anyway, we take the Body Slam off there. A couple of catches wins that game. That's a good game to the opponent. I really love Charizard as a concept in this meta, but I have not been able to make it work. So Skarmory in lead, bad lead. We're going to go straight into the safe swap here, which is, in this case, I try to go for Vigoroth. Opponent comes in with their own Vigoroth, and this is a losing matchup for the opponent, so I'm able to guarantee switch. You have to get an advantage on my Vigoroth in order to swap in your own Vigoroth. Now, especially because of the Brick Break and that they shielded, I can shield right back and I can win switch. I'm ahead on energy. I'm ahead on damage. Their defense is dropped. Like, there's no situation where I don't win this matchup. So my wife messaged me and she gets priority over the Shoutcast. But Skarmory comes back in. I'm looking to just go for Brick Break and do as much damage as I can here. And then so they're going to be able to farm down, which is kind of dangerous, but I get to align it onto my Steelix, and at this point, their energy literally just doesn't matter. So stay hydrated, by the way. Drink water. It's good for you. They have a Clodsire, which is kind of awkward here because I know that they have Stone Edge on this Clodsire. That is definitely the moveset that like all the Clodsires are running in this meta. But with a Psychic Fangs drop, I'm hoping that the damage from Altaria will do enough. I'm literally just going to save the shield for my Steelix at this point. And they're running Poison Sting, which means that I'm not actually going to be able to resist their fast moves, which means they're actually adding up. So in this case, the Poison Sting was better. They shield that. I'm letting the Stone Edge go. My Altaria has done what it needs to do. Steelix is going to come in now. And if the opponent wants to try and catch a move, which I kind of expect them to here, but they won't be able to get to 2 moves. This is all their energy. They have to throw an Earthquake here. And if they come back in with the Steelix, then I can just go for crunches. And they're going to need, like, 2 or 3 moves to knock out. Like, Steelix is a thick steel snake here. I'm going to farm all the way down on the Steelix, though. They need 2 moves here, and that means, like, Brave Bird plus something else. Sky Attack, not going to cut it here. Going to farm down, and we're going to go for the Psychic Fangs for the knockout on the Clodsire here. And that's going to be a good game here. Well played to this opponent. But you should never... I think they may have, like, misclicked, because they probably should have brought the Clodsire in. Brought the Clodsire in against the Vigoroth. You never want to bring in Vigoroth into a Vigoroth matchup, like, behind on energy. Because if you both shield twice, like, the Vig that came in first wins. That's it. So another Lickitung. I was going to try to get fancy, do the same thing as before, but they threw right away, so I wasn't going to be able to get that catch on the overfarm here. But I'm going to go for the Moonblast to soften up the Licky and trying to see if we can't maybe get a get a shield. But the opponent doesn't shield here. They're farming up and they come in with Tropius, and so it's Razor Leaf Tropius, mind you, which also makes this very awkward. I feel like I need switch here because if they got Razor Leaf Tropius in the back, I feel like there's probably something else in the back that's weak to Altaria, which is why they weren't swapping. I mean, this could just be the only thing as well that was weak to Altaria too. But I would like to get my Vigoroth on the Lickitung, but they have a lot of energy. They didn't. I don't think that they threw energy after they farmed up all that energy. So they do have energy, and I have to be aware of that. Vigoroth is a very good counter to it. I get swap, but it's freaking Mandibuzz, man. Like, I think I should have immediately just swapped straight back into my Altaria here, knowing their team, instead of staying in here to let them get energy. Instead, I wait way too long, let them get energy. Like, the right play here would have been to definitely swap in the Altaria right away, knowing that, like, Vigoroth in the end game could do very well here. So I'm hopeful that maybe my Vigoroth can do well here, but I have my Steelix in the back if I need to for a catch, which is going to be very difficult. Considering that none of our moves time up very well. So I'm expecting them to try to play this out with their Mandibuzz. They just need to get my Vigoroth low enough here. And I know they're going to shield everything I expect anyway, so I'm going to go for the Brick Break. I guess technically I could have gone for the Brick Break immediately, like on the 1 and then throw. But I wanted them to think that I had Rock Slide so that they would shield. In hindsight, I guess it really doesn't make a difference, but my opponent does actually get quite a bit of farm here. Like, Mandibuzz is just too thick. Like, Mandibuzz is one of those things that I like a lot in this meta because it's really able to it's really able to offset the RPS. And unfortunately for me, I try to make a catch on my Steelix. The opponent also swaps in their Lickitung, and they have 2 body slams. So at that point I had no hope. But my hope is that if I can counter this down and get the body slams off on the Mandibuzz, but didn't work out. Unfortunately, good game to the opponent here. All right, another nasty lead, Steelix lead. We're gonna go straight into the Steelix here, and the opponent stays in for a bit. Maybe they're gonna go for a Psychic Fangs, but they're actually gonna go up towards they're going for the Earthquake energy, and I have to respect it, right? But I don't. And I'm like, nobody's running Earthquake. If you're running Earthquake, it doesn't knock out. I've played the Steelix mirror quite a bit. If it was Shadow on Shadow, I'd have to respect it for sure. But now they've come in with Air/Tropius, and I know I need switch here. So I'm going to go for a Crunch here. It doesn't get shielded, which is really nice because it's extra damage. And I can let the first Leaf Blade go, but I'm probably going to have to shield to get the next one off. So Psychic Fangs is... I should be going for Psychic Fangs right away. It's genuinely, if you have a defense, debuffing move and timing's not important, it is genuinely just a mistake not to be going for that damage right away. Or the move right away, because that's just extra damage that I'm leaving on the table here that I could have got. So Vic comes in, and I know that I'm in a good spot here, because my Vic against their Steelix, my Vig against their Steelix, and their Vic, now I'm getting mixed up. And their Vic against my Shadow or my Altaria, we're doing good here. So yeah, this is basically just an RPS again. We flipped the alignment here, which is really the trick, and that's why I like Steelix a lot, because it does have the potential to flip those if you don't get met with something that like is ridiculously hard countered to it. So we're gonna go for Body Slam here because now it's gonna be low enough that it should be enough to knock out, and they shield as well. And even now, like, the Steelix is low enough that Altaria can handle it. A full HP Steelix, obviously no bueno. Now, I shield this in case because I think that they did show that they had the Breaking Swipe. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to farm down the whole Vic, and they have a move. I'm like, this is either Leaf Blade, or they go for, they don't have Sludge Bomb, I don't think. They go for Acid Spray. So if the opposing Steelix actually has a move, which they don't, thankfully. If they had the Breaking Swipe, that would have been dangerous. But Moonblast is going to take out the Steelix here. It's going to be a good game here. Well played. And we're rolling right into the next battle here with Altaria on the lead versus Clodsire. Altaria is just such a strong lead in this meta when it's not aligned to something like a Fairy or a Abomasnow. That's also a problem for it. But right, like mostly the Fairies and Abomasnow, at least you can, like, you know, swap out, get some energy on the Altaria and hit them back later. But, like, when you deal with steel leads, otherwise it's just bad. But, like, Altaria in this meta is really, really strong because it can withstand so much damage. And also, its damage output is fairly, you know, significant with these dragon breaths. So, I know that I live at least 1 Stone Edge, but I was going to shield 1 up just because I didn't want to take 2. Because I do get outpaced here. Clodsire does get to 2 Stone Edges before I get to 2 Sky Attacks. The opponent decides to take the shield advantage, and then they have the Skarmory in the back. Now, I have an answer and a half. I guess Vig technically is like half an answer. It's not shields down. I'm surprised the opponent shielded that move as well. Typically, when you have Steelix or something else that uses a debuffing defense move, you don't want to shield the first one because now every move after that's going to do more damage. So at this point, I'm fine with just going for as many Psychic Fangs as I can, farming it down with either my Vig or the Altaria here. And they actually don't shield this at all, which now just basically sets me up for a win. Because what we can do here is we can just save the shield for Vigoroth, and I come in straight away with my Vigoroth here because I expect them to swap immediately. So I'd rather get ahead of the energy here. So the Brick Break gets shielded. My opponent shielding the Brick Break here is really massive because, once again, these moves are going to do more and more. And the opponent throws, and I'm able to make this catch here. Really, really helpful. Able to get a little bit more damage with the Dragon Breath, but unfortunately they do get some farm, but I don't have to give up my shield here. Now I'm happy to shield. Like, there's no way, I don't think they make it to another move, because they just swapped. They cannot catch the move here. So I'm just trying to get up to enough energy to get close to 2 moves, but I don't really think I need 2 moves. But a Brick Break plus the Body Slam will be fine. The opponent swaps trying to maybe catch a move, or no, they were trying to reset the debuff there, but wasn't able to get to another move before my Body Slam came out, so we're going to take that. It's a good game to the opponent here. Well played. And we're getting into the next game against an expert ranked trainer with a Tentacruel on the lead. This is a really awkward matchup, but thankfully I know that at least I resist the Scalds, so I have to kind of stay here for a bit. I'm expecting there's probably Vigoroth in the back. That's what, like these metas with Vigoroth on almost every team, you can pretty much expect it. Now, unfortunately, I get the debuff, because that's just my luck. Scald always lands on heads for me when it's against me for some reason. It just seems like I always just seem to be on the bad end of those debuffs. It's just really unfortunate. But opponent's going to throw another Scald here. Them letting that go is fine. At least I can get rid of the Tentacruel, so hopefully that frees up my Vig. I'm going to swap in my Steelix, and they come in with a Nidoqueen, which is really interesting here now. I'm thinking that, like, what else did they have in the back that they didn't want to bring into my Steelix? If they're not running Vig in the back, then what else are they going to have? So maybe, like, even Mandibuzz would have made more sense here, right? And they definitely swapped in response. Now, of course, I shield a Poison Fang. Like it made sense for them to bait there, and honestly, I didn't need to shield because an Earth Power would not have been enough to knock out, but now it would do a lot of damage. Again, this is a non-Shadow Steelix and a non-Shadow Nidoqueen. Like, this damage would have been, you know, it wouldn't have been enough to knock out my Steelix. My opponent apparently didn't have an answer to Steelix in the back. Maybe they had, like, Altaria or something, for all I know, but able to pick up another 4-1 here, getting close to the 2600s yet again, as I've been up and down the 2600s all for, like, the last week. It's been quite a ride. If you haven't been visiting the streams, you should definitely check them out. That's where we've been doing most of our progressing. But hopefully this video enlightened you a little bit to this really strong team. Let me know in the comments if you guys are enjoying a team in the Jungle Cup. I'm kind of in and out of Jungle Cup. It's like both Jungle Cup and Ultra League are kind of like, you know, I have a good time and then I have a really bad time and then I feel salty and I go to the other one. It's just it's classic GBL syndrome, man. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.